I have a question for you guys at home. Do you believe that online relationships are real relationships, whether it be friendships or above? In my opinion, the answer is yes, but some people will have you believe that this is not the case and that you should always have your friends in real life and not online. Of course, these people do not understand what they're missing out on or what they're indeed talking about. After all, you can have friends anywhere at any time, and online allows you to have friends in places that you never thought possible in the world. There's always going to be a plus and a minus for all the points, whether you have friends in real life or not. And I figured today I would talk about my experience and tell you why I value online relationships and why, unfortunately, at the same time, I also understand and appreciate relationships in real life as well. Let's go. Hello and welcome back. Yes, we are talking about that subject, online friends versus friends in real life. How on earth do you go about a subject like this? Because there's so many variables and intricacies about it, and of course, everyone is different. Some people will value the online friendships more, and some people will value friendships in real life. Now, of course, back in the day when you had to meet new people, you indeed had to meet them in real life. There was no real way to meet them, otherwise, had you not met them first, how would you know where to send your letter to, or how would you know where to find them? The answer was you couldn't. But because of the online world today, finding new friends, finding new relationships, finding a date, or even a new partner is easier, albeit trickier, than ever. Initially, when I first had online and I had online friendships and relationships, obviously I knew the people beforehand. So when I first had Facebook or Twitter or even Instagram, I always added people who I already knew in real life beforehand. That just made it so much easier to go onto these apps and talk to my friends on the go. I didn't need to call them because calling cost a lot of money back in the day. You had to use a landline or a mobile device, and you had to have plans, and of course unlimited data and unlimited calls were not commonplace at the time. And then of course on top of that, the internet was starting to become a lot more useful for communications. So I used to use MSN, I used to use Facebook, all these things to communicate with my friends outside of school hours. And it just made things so much easier if I wanted to play a game or if I wanted to go and see them or visit them. And that's how my online experience first started. I used to have my actual friends that I met in real life at school on the platform as well, so I could talk to them about anything. But then during the 2010s, I expanded my horizons, and instead of just having my friends who I knew in real life, I started to mix in with people who I hadn't met before as strangers. Yet I had similar interests, or I thought their profile looked cool, and I reached out to them. And obviously, while not everyone spoke back to me, the few who did, I got to know them very well. I got to make friends, and actually, a lot of my best friends have come about by meeting them online first, whether it be social media or YouTube or whatever. So to me, the concept of an online relationship or friendship is just as legitimate as a real life friendship, because you have the same reasons to meet. You meet a stranger, you talk about something, you find a common interest, and then you go from there. You do the same thing in real life, and you'll do the same on online, on social media. You do exactly the same thing. And of course, when you meet these people, most of the people have actually behind the screen, so you know that the human behind the profile is legitimate and real. Although be careful of scammers, that's one thing we need to talk about later on. And because you're posting more freely, you get to express yourself more to people who otherwise would maybe not like who you are or what you do or understand what you like. You can find like-minded people more easily because you're throwing yourself out into the abyss full of people who are obviously trying to connect with people who are just like you. And I find when you've got groups and Discord nowadays and group chats, it just makes the whole thing feel more real to have a group of people who either agree or understand or can at least comprehend your opinion. It's just an amazing feeling. Gone are the days where you have to fight to find people to be in a group and to try and find people who understand you. Online makes this so much easier now, and I'm happy whenever I've got a select group of friends who I can just talk to anytime during the day and they'll be there for me. And that's the beauty of online, because everyone's in different time zones, everyone's available at different times. So if one friend is not available at one time, another friend will be. and it's just so advantageous. And for me personally, I love learning about different cultures and hearing about people's experiences in different countries compared to my own. And for me, it makes me feel more connected with those people because they can not only show me pictures of what they do in their daily lives, but they can also tell me about it as well. And I can also share my experiences being in the United Kingdom with those people who are maybe in other European countries or America or even Japan. Online broadens my horizons, not just as a human being and making more friends with people who I never could have imagined making friends with back in the day, but it also means I've got more cultural sense now than I ever did, and I appreciate the world a lot more than I ever did before when it came to just meeting people in real life, because of course most of the friends I used to meet were locals who were around my area or around the country. And for those who obviously came to this country from different countries, although a lot of those people are now doing such a thing, it's still nice to meet people online as well, because you get more of an idea of what they're doing in their country and you get to see what they experience in their day-to-day lives. Now, of course, online friendships and dating and all that are all great, but there's always a danger about it. Obviously, as I said before, most of the time, the people behind the camera, behind the profile, are the legit person, but sometimes they're not. And this is the worry, especially going forward with artificial intelligence coming up in the world. It's a buzzword today, but it means that more profiles are going to get made that look legitimate, but actually are not. Obviously, we all know the catfish situation where people unfortunately meet somebody who isn't who they say they are or look like who they say they are. And then, of course, online friendships, much like real life friendships, can easily be lost, much like in real life. People can just delete their profile and disappear on the face of the earth, never to see that person again. They can always come back, of course, but sometimes this is not the case. A lot of the things that we take for granted with real life relationships should also be applied to the online relationships as well. Real life friends are comparable to online friends because a lot of the things that you go through are going to be the same. The emotional connection is going to be there. You can always voice call the people, you can always see the person on a video call nowadays, so it kind of lessens the whole real life versus online experience. And if you guys are close enough, you can always meet this person in the future. Yes, it will be difficult if the person lives far away or in a different country or continent to you, but these things are possible if the relationship aspect is real. And of course, don't forget that an online friendship can be easier to maintain than one in real life. But of course, if you start to meet the person in real life, there are always benefits there too. Obviously, you get to see the person, you get to interact with the person. Your interactions will always be different with the person in person versus just seeing them behind the camera or behind text messages or behind a voice. And of course, when you have a person in real life, the relationship is even more special because they're actually there. For those of you who are more old-fashioned and you like the real-life relationships, don't worry, I'm the same. I feel the same way too. I took a long time wanting to better myself and to be better in the world in terms of interacting with people and socializing and being able to talk to people better and being able to interact with them better. But for those people who are shy or maybe just have trouble interacting with people in real life, social media is the holy grail for them, and this should not be put aside because these people need a way to communicate, and online socializing using social media or Zoom calls or whatever they use, as long as it's not in real life, is very important. And to have friends all around the world is just a beautiful thing that you must not take for granted. So to me, the question is simple. Yes, online relationships and online friends are just as legitimate as meeting the same person in real life. There are benefits to both and detriments to both. And yes, I'm on the side of I prefer to see the person in real life, but equally I also appreciate them behind social media as well, because they are still fantastic people. And if you find the right people, no matter if they're online or not, friendships are friendships, full stop. I'm sure all of you know about the pen pal when people used to come over from a different country for a while and then go back again, and you used to either sponsor them or have them as like a friend that you looked after for a little while. Think of it as that, but more permanent and more, I guess, realistic in a way, because you can get to know them properly over years and years, and maybe one day you'll meet each other in a legitimate way which basically epitomizes everything that you've done with them so far. But always remember, folks, be safe out there, be careful. It doesn't matter if you meet someone in real life or not. Always be wary of what they're saying, what they do, and don't get sucked into a scam or an artificial intelligence version of the person. Always make sure you know who you're talking to before you obviously go ahead and make a friendship or more, and don't get caught out, because when you do, you're in a world of hurt essentially, and be very careful out there. But you folks, let me know, what do you think of online relationships versus real life relationships, as they happen to call it, although in my opinion they're both real, so don't confuse them, but we'll just use that term for now. What do you think of the whole situation? Have you got friends that you hold near and dear to your heart in real life, or online, or both? And what's your opinion on the online safety when it comes to social media, especially with the rise of artificial intelligence these days? Let me know, and until next time, I'll see you soon.